So when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking about my first experience with digital transformation. Yeah, and that was really, really early days, right? I moved into the UK in 1995, and when I got here, any contact with the US was by phone. And if you're away from your family for that, if you're separated for that long, some things happen over the years, and you're really far away from them. The biggest change that happened was being able to video in with them. Yeah, so a video camera, being able to see them really shrunk the world, right? Adding that additional sense of sight was a big deal. So you sort of fast forward to where we are today. Yeah, and the fact is, just that shrinking of the world has gone really, really fast now. Yeah, and to the point where you can do anything, anywhere, and that to me is the biggest change of digital transformation today, right? Anyone or any company can do anything from any place, yeah, and it just allows people to contribute and to compete in ways that they never thought they were going to be able to. I mean, there's that Tom Friedman book, The World is Flat. Yeah, it is a real flattener, right? This technology. I think the biggest myth maybe around it, or misconception maybe, is that it's a technical change. Yeah, sure, it's a technical change, but the thing is, the reason you want to do this type of transformation is to transform your business. And if you enter into this as a technical change, you do it at your own peril. Yeah, the idea of harnessing digital transformation has got to be all about understanding your business, understanding the business that you're working with, understanding how they use technology today, and how digital transformation can enable them, or more than enable them, right? Make them be able to do things better, faster, whatever that is, than they are today. Yeah, and that doesn't happen by seeing it as we'll give them unified communications or we'll give them cloud computing, right? That's got to happen as a coherent effort to understand what the business does, and then to tailor the solution to them, and to really emphasize the communications and the adoption pieces of that, to make sure that you're pushing it out in the way that they can consume it. Now, I'm not an expert in this area, but it's a piece that really intrigues me about it. And I think it's around robotics and about machine learning. Yeah, and when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about it in terms of how assembly lines and mechanization changed life for, say, the blue collar worker in America over the years, right? How it just changed. A lot of those jobs went away. Yeah, and the productivity changed, but other businesses sprung up and things like that. And when we think about robotics today, it's not in that sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator sort of view anymore, right? It's actually virtual robots that are doing things online that suddenly take the place of call centers, or maybe even accountants, or more, or even more complex things like that, right? And that impacts the white collar worker, in a lot of ways, in ways that maybe they never thought that robotics would impact the industry or impact their lives. When I think about it, I think to myself, it can be a real enabler, and in some ways a real disruptor, right? And maybe in a negative way. I'm never really sure whether I'm 100% comfortable with the fact that those changes are going to come, and are we ready? Are my kids ready to live in that world where they need to be? They need to retrain themselves in a very different way than I've had to retrain myself. I would go back to what I said in the previous question, which would be, don't think about it as a technical change. Yeah, you must think about it as a business change, and you must think about how your business uses technology today, and you need to have a vision as to how you want to use technology tomorrow. What do you want your business to be? What's out there, and how could you use it in order to make your business better? I think that's the key piece there. Think of it as a business change. I think the most challenging aspect of it is working with the customer to adopt the technology, and understand not the technology as it is today, but the technology as they're going to be able to consume it tomorrow. So the example that the biggest example that we get in what we do is around eliminating people's desk phones. And when people think about their desk phones, they think about two things, right? They think, one, I don't want to give it up, right? That's the first thing. I've had it for years, and I don't see why I'd want to give it up. Yeah. And the second piece is, if you can get them on the journey of maybe they do want to give it up, right? They still think about things in terms of how they use the phone. What do? We pick it up, we dial it. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, and the attributes that go with that. Am I going to have my speed dials? Am I going to have my short dials in there, right? But in say a Skype for Business solution, yeah. Generally, people are going to be on a computer. They're going to point and click at that person. It's better than a short dial, right? But you need to take people to be able to reimagine that, right? They have to be able to. They have to see the solution for what that is, and that it's not replacing that. It's doing it differently. And if you're not able to take them on that journey and reimagine help them to reimagine the way that they're going to use the technology, then you sort of get into an adoption sort of spiral. Can you make it happen? What we found is that it's a journey. Yeah, it's a journey, right? You've got to. Yeah, and I'm not laying out some, how do you put it, something that I've cooked up in the lab. I mean, the fact is, people have talked about adoption this way for years, right? What do? You get some people that are early adopters, that are true believers in this, and you get them using it, and you get them to be champions, and then you build demand in the business, and you build a pull in the business, right? But getting your customer to agree to that type of approach, and not to want to consume it all at once, not understanding that it may be a journey for them, that's a real challenge in it. I would say that you would sit down with your partner, you would interview a number of partners, and you would make sure that your partner wanted to know about your business. Yeah, that's if your partner should not be selling you a technical change. Your partner should be telling they should have done this before, and they should be speaking to you about your business. If they're not speaking to you about your business, walk out. Yeah, because in the end, this is a change that should be affecting the fabric of how you do things. Should be making you better as a business. Yeah, if you're just getting a technical solution, it's not. Yeah, that's not going to suit you. I think the most successful projects have a customer that really is bought into the journey. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, the partner that you work with needs to speak to you about your business. That the customer needs to really want to go on that journey, and be voracious for that change. In one of the most successful projects that we work with, we work with a company to help them to transform their existing legacy telephony to a unified communications solution, a Skype for Business solution. And I mean, they were out in front of that technology. And from the very, very beginning, they pushed us and every other vendor in that ecosystem to do more than what anybody else thought that anybody could do with that technology, right? They helped Microsoft and everybody else to mature that product. Yeah, but that type of voraciousness for that change, and that drive and confidence that you can do it is really important. But I think there's another attribute that goes with it. While they were voracious for that change, they were also they also knew how to drive the communications and adoption in that company, and they were willing to take certain things fast, but certain things more slowly, and said, look, we're on a journey to get to an end state. And if we're on a journey to get to an end state, the end goal is what's important, right? And if this stage takes a little bit longer, but it embeds us better with that user group, and we're able to, and it helps us to build on that foundation, that's the right thing to do. And I think the last thing is, you cannot, and you come back to it in every time you talk about this type of topic, right? You cannot underestimate the importance of being bought in terms of communications and adoption. Really having people that you're working with that will help you to tailor that communication to each of the individual stakeholders' needs, right? The messages are different, the needs are different, and so it all needs to be tailored to those people. And this client really was bought into that, and that was the reason for it being such a big success. Well, I hope they're for small companies, because we've got a whole arm of our company that's working with small and medium enterprises. But yes, I mean, I think small companies actually, it's as good, if not a better fit for a small company for a couple of big reasons, right? Smaller companies typically won't always have the same sort of size and scale of an embedded infrastructure that they've got to transform, right? A smaller company, you've got a better chance of changing tack with that company, than you do of a big behemoth of 100,000 or 50,000 people, right? A company that has 4,000, 5,000 users, it's hopefully going to have a much leaner management structure, and can drive a cultural change, and a behavior change faster in that environment. The chances of that being successful are much better. And so I think it works better for a smaller company. And if anything, I think again it goes back to that point we made before. It's a real leveler, right? For a small company, I think it tears you away from geography. Yeah, it allows a small company to work to compete in any marketplace. And I think it also allows those companies to bring products to market and potentially be attractive to work with. Where maybe it would have only been with a larger company before, right? Just because they can be more nimble, they can get there faster. So I think, in our experience, the big challenges are they're a bit cultural. There's a bit of regulatory in there, and then there's just the global nature of it in general, right? So the global nature, we'll start with that one first, right? So the global nature of it in general is, look, these projects are happening all over the world, and managing stuff that's happening all over the world is hard. And no matter what technology you put in place, it doesn't change time, right? You can't bend time to make it later in Asia Pac and earlier on the East Coast of America, or vice versa. In the end, you still have to work across those time zones and make things happen, right? But that's only one end of it. The cultural side of it is different. And that part of it is something that tailoring a program and tailoring a solution for is really, really important. And that comes down to in Germany, privacy is very important. In Asia, collaboration or consensus is very important for as examples, and making sure that your solution lends itself to those things, takes those things into account. And the last piece is around understanding the regulatory environment, but it's maybe something else, maybe something a bit more than that. These digital transformations, they pull the solution to the center. In other words, you can centralize the support and the implementation of a lot of these things rather than doing it locally. And those local teams have been there for ages. They understand the ins and outs of how things work in that city, that country, and so on, right? They understand the regulatory environment. They understand. They read the local newspapers. They understand what's going on in that in that place, and they can tailor a solution to make sure that it fits in with that. As we move to this digital transformation world, a lot of that moves centrally, and you start to lose that local knowledge. And as you lose that local, you've got to find a way to get it in. You've got to, from a regulatory perspective, you've got to make sure that you understand what can be done in India, what can be done in China, what can be done in certain countries in Eastern Europe or Africa, right? And how that will work. In losing that, you've got to make sure that you're finding a way to bring that into the center. And I think those are the three big challenges.